Hello friends! Are you curious to know how King Solomon's seals really work? I am Orna Ben-Shoshan, the creator of Heaven and Earth King Solomon cards and instructor of the course about the King Solomon seals. In this video, I will talk about the essence of King Solomon's seals, their structure, and how they can help us in every area of life. With their help, we can change our lives for the better, pull ourselves out of difficult situations, remove blockages, and speed up the pace of our spiritual development. So, what is the great magic of the seals? Let's talk for a moment about our life path. Everyone seeks happiness and fulfillment. We all want to escape pain and hardship. According to the Kabbalah, we came into this world for a limited period, a lifetime through which we have to progress from a certain starting point to a higher level in our spiritual development. Every person has a mission in this world, determined for him in advance according to what his soul is assigned to achieve during his lifetime. How fast are we going to move through our growth process? There are two paths in which we can go. Our growth can be achieved the usual way, through many years of coping with life experiences, struggling through our personal dramas, trial and error. Along this long journey, we learn a lot, and our soul accumulates more insights and evolves. However, in many cases, the normal pace of growth may become a long, difficult, and even excruciating path. But it is also possible to get to the exact same point in the shorter and easier way, with less suffering, and still attain all the insights and experiences our souls requires along the way. Every problem that arises in life can be solved through struggle, conflict, and effort. But it is also possible to reach efficient and quick solutions without all the battles on the way. This is what the seals of Solomon do for us. When we integrate the healing frequencies directly into our subconscious, we get a breakthrough. From my experience in teaching the subject of the King Solomon seals, I have learned that there is great curiosity about them among many people of many cultures. From questions I received from students, I realized that some people learn from various sources that it is possible to generate miracles, practice witchery, cast spells, and manipulate reality with the help of the seals, and even control and harm other people, defeat competitors, and destroy enemies. However, this is not the purpose of working with the seals of Solomon. The purpose of the seals is to bring about changes in our subconscious, and thereby change our physical reality. This is their true magic. The seals are designed to elevate our spiritual frequency, so that we do not attract enemies, resisting forces, and blockages into our lives. King Solomon's seals can also be applied for healing and channeling knowledge. Through them, you can get a lot of information about the root of your problem and what needs to be rectified. The King Solomon seals have been used for many generations, since the times when human consciousness was wider and more refined compared to modern times, where people are wrapped in heavy veils of materialism and a superficial approach to life, and their consciousness is dimmer and blurry. In the distant past, it was customary to engrave the seals on a metal plate or on clay, and whoever held them was strongly affected by their powers. The seals of old times were activated through intense processes of summoning angels and spiritual beings, things that today we do not have permission to engage in. The reason is that we may be overwhelmed by the intense energy of the seals. Our vessels are not developed enough to contain their full potency. Therefore, the various activation methods of the seals we practice today are adapted to the spiritual frequency of our generation. In the online course available to you, I teach how to activate the seals in a meditative method, focusing on intentions and visualization. The seals are associated with the wisest man, King Solomon, and their power is very great. They transmit focused and precise frequencies from the spiritual worlds to the physical reality of our lives. That is, the seals transfer powers from the 10 Sefirot of the Tree of Light to the material world, and this is done through the mystical shapes, the holy names, the names of angels, and the verses written on them. What you see in the drawings of the seals are not just symbols, but sacred coding that contain different mechanisms that are capable of compiling frequencies. They are able to convey high frequencies from the different spheres into our reality. Our physical reality is driven by powers of different frequencies. Angels are served as vessels that receive their light from a certain source, and they are the ones who bring the luminance of that source of power into action. Each sacred name symbolizes a certain function in the thought of creation. Many people have learned that they can summon angels and ask them to do things for them. But the role of the angels is not to serve us, but to serve the needs of the cosmic system. It can be said that the seals are a sort of Kabbalistic spiritual engineering that is able to affect man in such a powerful way. The seals recode our consciousness and make it resonate at a new frequency. When we transform our consciousness, our reality changes as well. Our physical reality reflects what is encoded in our subconscious. The human brain transmits and receives about 80,000 thoughts a day. All the subconscious thoughts and codings are transmitted to the amorphous substance of the matrix in which we live, and this way create our living reality. This complexity shapes the world we know, with all the small details it contains. Our insights, feelings, reactions, the sounds we hear, everything we see, what kind of people will be in our lives, our relationships with them, what will be the processes we will undergo with them. All of these are encoded in our subconscious. All these details are reflected every moment of our physical life. Since each person's subconscious is unique, there is no other person in the world who perceives reality exactly like you. Therefore, to create a change in our physical life, we have to first change our subconscious, encode new beliefs in it, and generate a new transmission into the matrix. And then the matrix presents us with a different reality. For example, if your subconscious is encoded with the thought that you are not loved, unwanted, unappreciated, and that you will not be able to accomplish anything in your life, that is how your physical reality will look like. If your subconscious is encoded with the notion that people are wicked, exploitative, and want to hurt you, then harassing people will appear in your life. The more we expand and transform our consciousness, the more our reality will change. If life is not good to us, we can whine and feel like victims, or alternatively, recode our reality. If we suffer from a persistent problem, and even though we change places of residence, jobs, spouses, and social environment, and still experience the same blockages and hardships, this is a clear sign that the problem is within us and not with anyone else. We carry our subconscious with us everywhere. For example, if we want a certain person to stop bothering us and challenging us on an ongoing basis, it is recommended that before we start fighting with him, we change something in ourselves. The Kabbalah teaches that anyone who appears in our lives and giving us a hard time is in fact an emissary that comes to prompt us to transform something within us in order to grow. Once we undergo the transformation and rectify the issue within ourselves, such people will not appear in our life to harass us. There will be no need in them because we have already generated a change in our subconscious. Another example: if we spend many years struggling to survive financially, chasing the money, suffer instability, debts, financial failures, or loss, it is most likely that our subconscious is encoded with negative beliefs about money. These could be various negative stipulations that were fixated in our belief systems because of past traumas we experienced, and even in past lives. These traumas of failure, devastation, self-destruction, fear of creditors, illness, negative beliefs about money that pass down in the family throughout generations. These traumas that we carry with us into this lifetime may control our lives today. They are registered in our subconscious and create a reality of ongoing financial struggles and crises for us. As you can see, these are not necessarily our creditors, people who exploit us, tough luck, or a cruel boss that create this miserable reality, but something that exists within us. Once we release the trauma, our lives can be completely different. At different stages in life, dramas appear in our path, whose role is to make us cope, struggle, and stretch the limits of our ability. The dramas and difficulties fall on us not to punish us, but to push us to make transformations and changes in our conscious vessels, and thereby grow and rise to a higher spiritual level. The transformation changes us and raises our spiritual frequency, and then we can receive a feeling of light and abundance. The process of expanding our conscious vessels and their transformation is painful in most cases, and sometimes even dangerous, because we may reach very low places where the forces of evil and darkness in the world cling to us and bring decrees upon us. We cannot avoid expansion of vessels and transforming them, because this is essential for our ability to get a feeling of light and grow. However, the process we are obliged to go through does not have to be done in the hard, long, and agonizing way. The King Solomon seals are available to our aid, and they know how to carry out these transformations in the light, to assist and speed up our development process. Instead of having to deal with an ongoing problem for years and even throughout incarnations, processes can be completed within a few hours or days. Here are some examples. Seal number 8. The first pentacle of Mars is designed to add strength and courage to a person. We need this seal when we have difficulties in fulfilling our purpose in life. With its help, we receive strength when we are stuck and unable to overcome challenging situations. The seal also helps us with success in business and self-realization in any field. Seal number 9. The second pentacle of Mars helps to cure all types of diseases of the body and mind, and activates the self-healing mechanisms in man. Seal number 10. The third pentacle of Mars gives the power to deal with opponents, rise above our limitations, resolve conflicts, disputes, or lawsuits. There are cases in which the help of mediators is not successful, and the legal issue may drag on for years. The seal activates the advocacy mechanism that exists for the benefit of the person in heaven, raises all his merits of good deeds, so that the supreme worlds will speak in his favor, and then he can win the trial. The seal mitigates the measure of judgment and gives strength to face the trial. The role of seal number 10 is not to demolish the person who sued you or conspired to harm you, but to create internal changes in you that will allow you to get out of the difficult situation safely and quickly. Instead of spending money on lawyers and wasting agonizing months and years in court, the frequency of the seal helps you conclude the case in a very short time. Seal number 39, the seventh pentacle of the Sun. This seal helps to redeem the captive. That means to release you from people or circumstances that you are enslaved to, and also to set actual prisoners free. It is also good for those who are stuck in their bad character traits, in destructive habits, which control their lives and do not allow them to fulfill themselves. The 40 seals touch all areas of life: health, relationships, livelihood, domestic peace, career, raising children, and more. They speed up the healing and rectification processes, and the results are felt in practice. The King Solomon seals are designed to bring balance, to break fixations that prevent us from achieving what we want in life, help with self-realization, learning and development of consciousness, opening the eyes, attaining spiritual vision, and correcting negative character traits. One seal is intended to increase a person's spiritual power and give validity to his words, which will be heard clearly with great impact. Some of the seals are designed to increase abundance and blessing in life and remove setbacks and blockages. If you have difficulty making a living and are stuck in the crease of poverty and scarcity, there is a seal that makes the relevant transformation for you. And here comes an important question. Can the shortcut in processes that the seals can do for you replace the natural pace of your development? From various spiritual teachers, we learn that the long path to healing and finding solutions is the only way to grow and gain insights, and it should take a lifetime to achieve that. Many people truly believe that life on earth is tough by nature, and suffering is part of the story of growing and learning. Together with that, we find ourselves constantly craving for a feeling of light and doing our best to escape pain. Are we really forced to go through so much suffering? Implementing the powers of the seals is not intended to eliminate the difficulty we experience in a few minutes, nor does it prevent us from gaining the insights we must obtain. As I have mentioned before, it is possible to reach a higher level of development in life through the long and torturous path, which includes suffering and frustration. But our ambition should be to speed up the process. Eventually, we will reach the same point, whether by going the long bumpy road or by the short or bright road. The luminance of the seals generate transformation in a way that will speed up the processes, while mitigating the decrease, and this includes the insights you are supposed to reach even without going through a lengthy process. The insights will come to you anyways. The road just gets shorter. There is nothing to fear from shortcuts. On the contrary, we should refrain from the long and difficult path. You don't have to suffer in this world, and it is possible to carry out any developmental process with mitigation, with soft landings, and with the option of quick recovery from falls. For this purpose, I developed these spiritual tools: Heaven and Earth King Solomon cards, and the course, the King Solomon Seals, 44 keys to prosperity and success. Let's start with the cards. The Heaven and Earth King Solomon cards are Kabbalistic cards based on the ancient King Solomon seals. The cards were created after several years of in-depth study and research I conducted with the seals and their energies. This set of cards contains all the 44 seals that are known to us today. Each card displays one of King Solomon's seals that are designed to give us insights, guidance, prediction, and empowerment in every area of life: livelihood, health, career, personal fulfillment, decision-making, spiritual growth, relationships, and more. In addition, you get 5 smaller cards as a bonus, which look very different from the reading cards. These are Kabbalistic pocket-sized amulets the size of a credit card. A seal appears on each one of the amulets, as you can see. And on the back of the amulet, you can read about the purpose of the seal. There is also an empty box where you can fill in a name and the mother's name to dedicate the amulet to yourself or to another person. You can keep the Kabbalistic amulets close to you in your pocket or purse. This is the interpretation booklet. And here is a place to note the uniqueness of this set. The answers in the booklet are long and detailed, and each answer consists of 2 parts. The first part, right here, is a spiritual lesson that you need to know when a certain card comes up in a reading. It is linked to the issue the card answers about. When you ask a question that needs clarification, the short spiritual lesson tells you something that you need to know right now. In many cases, it will be enough to read the spiritual lesson that appears here to understand where you stand. Here is an example. If you draw card number 11 from the deck, the symbol on the card is the 4th pentacle of Mars. The answer the card provides is related to the virtues of the seal. You go to the interpretation booklet to read the answer. You first read the spiritual lesson written in italic letters on top, right here. The spiritual lesson talks about what happens to us in situations of trial and controversy, quarrels, battles, or competition. In such cases, our brain produces intense thought waves that run between the tendency to act according to the dictates of the ego, get stuck in place, dig into our position and fight, or take the other way, transcend the ego and act consciously. This internal conflict we are thrown into is very important because it helps us transform our consciousness and grow. If we manage to overcome the tendencies of the ego and handle the situation correctly, we get an opportunity to ascend the spiritual ladder, and our lives become much easier. The answer that comes below the spiritual lesson relates to the subject of negotiations, competition, or lawsuits, and resolving disputes. It tells you that you will manage to resolve these challenges constructively if you overcome the tendency to entrench and get stuck in place. The card advises not to be rigid and stubborn, otherwise the conflict will not be resolved. At the same time, do not give up what you deserve by right, and do not be naive. Your flexibility should come from a position of strength. The card also tells us that financial assets will be distributed fairly, and that you can expect positive developments in your career and business interactions, and so on. As you can see, the answers in the booklet are explicit and clear, and will answer your questions in a reliable and accurate way. I have been working with a prototype of the cards for quite a while before I published them, giving readings to people. The feedback I received was awesome, and I felt that the frequencies of the seals connected me to the deep truth and gave me wide perspective about the questions being asked. People who have bought the cards up until now are very impressed by their design and accuracy. Reading the cards is very simple. For each question, you should draw one card only from the deck, and it will provide you with all the knowledge you need at the present moment. And if you want to get more clarifications on the subject, or if you don't fully understand the answer you received, try to phrase the question in a more focused way, and then draw a second card from the deck that will add clarity or reinforce the answer you already received. It is very important to be focused on a specific question when shuffling the cards. And what if you don't have a specific question? Just ask for an open message from the cards. Shuffle the cards and ask, what can the cards tell me today? What do I need to know right now? Then draw one card and get a message for the present moment. It will always come out very accurate. Once you draw a certain card from the deck which is related to your question, the seal that appears on the card is most likely the one that will help you resolve the issue you are asking about. After you receive an answer to your question, you can activate that seal in order to rectify the issue that is bothering you and remove a blockage. And how to activate the seals. All this knowledge is included in the online course, The King Solomon Seals, 44 Keys for Prosperity and Success. This course conveys to you the spiritual Kabbalistic implementations of the seals. It describes how each seal can contribute to your spiritual development, shift your inner frequency, which will help you generate positive changes in your physical reality. The virtues of each one of the 44 seals are explained in depth on 2 levels. The mystical, magical effect of the seal, and the spiritual transformation it generates in the person who activates it. This course is enriching and practical. You will learn a unique and proven method of inscribing the energetic frequencies of the seals in your energy field to be affected by their full potential. Activating each seal is done in 3 stages and include a section in which you read positive affirmations that help you focus your intentions. There are also lots of supporting materials that will lead you through activations of the seals. The course conveys unique knowledge through which you will learn important cosmic principles and proper personal conduct to make your life happier, abundant, and more fulfilling. I hope this information ignited your curiosity. I'm here to answer your questions. Thank you for watching, and blessings to you.